And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, wherever you are connecting from. Thanks for joining us today. And this is our 2020 to 24 Power Platform Classmates event. And we have 2 days event starting from today, all full day event today and tomorrow. And we have the one and only Dona Sarkar to kickstart our event for this year. And I'll pass it to Dharani to give introduction about Dona, and then let Dona take over the stage.
Sure, thanks a lot, Jiva. I'm so happy and thrilled to excited and introduce our estimated speaker for today's event, a true epitome of innovation and the experimentation, Dona Sarkar. Donna believes that you are one experiment away from being your most powerful self at work and as well as in life. Currently, at her day job, she is running 100 experiments as the chief troublemaker of the Microsoft AI and Copilot extensibility program. Her goal is that people all over the world can use Microsoft's AI and Copilot programs to reason over their own data and truly make useful for their business. Donna, also a keynote speaker, a multi-published author, the owner of ethical luxury fashion brand called Prima Donna Studios, and she has recently become a wine bar co-owner and is studying to be an sommelier. A few years ago, she was named one of Fast Company's 100 most productive people and Cosmopolitan magazine's business person of the year for her multifactored life. And yes, she is always ready to get on a plane, come see you. Please join me in welcoming the extraordinary speaker, Dona Sarkar.
Hey everyone, thank you so much. This is so kind of you to invite me to kick off your first Power Platform Classmates event. Um, I'm going to share slides, but here is something really, really important. The most important thing you can be doing for the next day and a half is bonding with each other. Because through a community like what you already have, that is where you're going to find out about what's going on with tech, now, what's coming up next, and what opportunities there are for you. So while I'm here sharing with you some technical roadmap, vision, all of these things, the most important thing in the world are all of you and your local communities where you are all over Asia, all over South Asia, etc. All right, so make friends with each other because you are the most powerful superpower you have. Okay, so for the last year and a half, I know we're here to talk about Power Platform, but here's something really important. The Power Platform is changing and every tech stack is changing. And it's important that all of you in your part of the world also embrace that information, right? Asia and South Asia tend to be very forward in terms of technology, in terms of technology adoption, but they don't often start with leadership, right? They will go and adopt first, but I don't see a lot of startups in that space usually. And this time it's different because there's a lot of startups in India, in Vietnam, and Singapore, and all of these places around AI. And one of the things you've seen is for the last year and a half, all you've seen is us talk about, as a tech industry, talk about AI, and more AI, right? And one of the questions that I get often when I go talk to companies is they ask, is this AI business, is it hype or is it real? And the answer is yes, it's both. Okay, it's both hype and it's real. So let's tackle what is hype and what's not actually real. So first of all, there's so much nonsense in the news, right? Every day there's a new AI product, and half the time that AI product does something extremely ridiculous. Like, there's a product that none of us are going to talk about right now that tells you to aggressively put glue in pizza. It tells you to eat one rock a day. It tells you to jump off a cliff if you're sad. It just tells you things that are fundamentally wrong. But this is not unusual because there's AI products that tell you to go buy, a Toyota truck for $1 as well. There's also a lot of just misinformation around a lot of these AI boyfriends and girlfriends and Russian wives, etc. There's all of these apps that create like a fake partner for you to help you get through tough times in life. And these are all set up just to steal all your passwords and identity. Honestly, that's why these exist. So never sign up for them, just letting you know. If you see one of those, even if you're curious, do not sign up because their entire goal is to steal all your information. So don't do that. The other thing that's been a huge thing are deepfakes, right? So the CEO of WPP, which is the biggest ad firm in the world, was recently scammed into giving away a whole bunch of information about his company by a deepfake phone call. And you're going to see this more and more. And in fact, there's companies working on building deepfakes into their meeting apps. So when you see all these things, you start thinking like, wait, so this AI business is actually bad news. It's not good. But that's where the double-sided thing comes in. And that's where it's so important for us tech people to lead. Okay. Because yes, there's a lot of nonsense, a lot of hype, and a lot of bad, but there's also a lot of good and potential. Like all of you saw, hopefully, the announcement from Apple a month and a half ago around Apple Intelligence, which will enable you on device to be able to ask questions or get information from your iPhone. And Apple will switch from being the on-device language model, a small language model that's locally on device, and it will automatically switch to ChatGPT when it's a bigger question than it can handle. So this thing is what's called a multi-agent AI product, right? And this is actually very clever and it's pretty cool because you will be able to use the power of all of the AI models out there just from your device. Then the other thing that to me has been really interesting is how many AI startups exist. And this is a report that's old actually from last year because reports can't even keep up. But if you look at the number of AI startups that exist in the world that we know of, right? These are just we know of because they filled out some form. There's 5,000 in the US. There's 1,400 in China. There's a whole bunch in India. There's a ton in South Korea. These are all AI startups that started in the last 6 months, 8 months, something like that. And for a bunch of startups to pick up this brand new technology, that's weird. And that's really, really cool. I love seeing that. But it's more than just startups. When you look at traditional industries, right? A lot of people have said that, oh, AI is going to take all these jobs. And actually, that's not true because people who work in the more creative side of industries like content writers, graphic designers, marketing people, they actually have picked up AI products and are redefining their jobs. They're saying, no, AI is not going to take my job. I'm going to keep my job, but I'm going to use AI to do it better. So in the latest Microsoft work trend report, which you can look up and see, you'll see that there are a ton of industries, especially creative, where people are starting to lead in how AI is going to be used in their job going forward. And the same is true for software, same is true for business. So one of the best things you can be doing, even if you aren't a software developer, is to figure out what are some key AI scenarios in your job, right? So people who are seen as leaders in AI, who are leading the way in companies, who are not devs, right? Who are not software developers, they're the ones who tend to research and try new prompts, regularly experiment with different ways of using AI. Before they start a task, they ask, can AI help me with this? And they say it helps me be more creative, productive, and focus on the more important work, right? So all of these green bubbles, which are down here at the end on the extreme right, are where people who are leaders in companies doing stuff with AI. So this is something called power AI users, and they're the ones who tend to go and shape how AI is going to be used at work, and they're the ones who are going to have very good jobs for the next 10 years. So one of the things that's been really interesting to me is that global AI jobs keeps going up and up and up and up, right? So if you look at this chart between March and June, which is where I snapshotted this data, the number of AI jobs just keeps going up, right? There's a little dip there in the middle, but overall, you've got 43% increase of jobs between March and June in jobs in AI across the world. And you can find that out if you just search on LinkedIn with AI jobs and do some analysis. And you can use like Microsoft Copilot to help you do this too. So something that's very interesting to me is that most of the AI jobs that you see are technical. Because we're early, most of the jobs that people are hiring for are data scientists. So if you all have data backgrounds, congratulations, you're going to be employed for a very, very long time, right? Along with people who are looking for people who know how to do AI training, like human in the loop AI, human in the loop feedback, right? Along with AI engineers, machine learning engineers, devs, architects, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All the way at the bottom, you're going to see things like product marketing because the non-tech industries haven't reached AI specific jobs yet, but those will be the category that will be next year. So given that all of these jobs are AI related, what does this have to do with you? Because you've joined Power Platform classmates. You're wondering, Donna, why are you telling us about this? We have a Power Platform job. We're going to specialize in Power Platform. It actually has a lot to do with you, because the chances of you being makers or implementers or deployers or governance people for Power Platform are really high if you're on this. And you all need to get skilled up in AI, because as you build things for companies, you need to make sure AI is integrated into it. You can't bolt it on at the end. Okay, so as you start building apps, think about, how can this image gallery auto-generate images? How can I auto-generate copy for this set of things, etc.? And the dynamic suite of products are actually very good examples of tools that are getting rewritten to be AI at the center. And Project Sophia, of course, from the Power Platform, is an AI by design app from the beginning. Okay, so it actually affects you more than ever, because AI is being used in business and you all are involved in the business of business apps. Okay, so next question, Copilot. Okay, we've heard a lot about Copilot. And this image feels real, which is, here's normal people who are just trying to do work. And here's Microsoft saying AI, AI, AI onto everything. And I mean, it's funny because it's true, right? And we've caused this a little bit of chaos by introducing a lot of copilots, right? Every day you look at news and there's some new copilot. And believe me, I know this because I wrangle copilots at Microsoft. And there are 100 and something Copilot experiences across products. So we decided to do us all a favor and do everyone a favor and just organize them in one place. So we want to introduce to you a thing called the Copilot Learning Hub. And I encourage you all to take a screenshot of this, take a picture of this page, because you're going to wind up using it for your job at some point or another. Okay. Learn.microsoft.com/Copilot. We update the site every month with fresh, brand new content. I actually just shot 7 videos over the last month on all different copilots. Yesterday was Project Sophia and Copilot Studio. Before that was Responsible AI. Then was Dynamics Business Central, Dynamics Customer Insights, Power Apps, Power Automate, et cetera, et cetera. So the way Copilot Learning Hub works is you go to learn.microsoft.com/Copilot. And then on this page, you're going to see sections, right? The first section is how do you understand Copilot? Then is how do you adopt Copilot? Third is how do you extend it? And four, how do you build your own Copilots? So extensions are all about like, how do you take a Copilot and extend it with graph connectors or plugins or all of these things that you Power Platform people know. The more interesting thing is probably these videos on Copilot Learning Hub, which will give you Copilot scenarios across the board, like Copilot for IT pros, Copilot for devs, Copilot for business people, sales people, service people, etc. So check out the source. We've also got Copilot per job roles here. So if you're a student, if you're a partner, if you're ISV, there's Copilot resources for you. And again, we refresh the site every single month. You'll see that if you go to the site now, it's already changed because we just did our monthly refresh yesterday. So there's a big docs hub where you can look up and find the documentation for each page as well. Okay, so one big thing that you've all heard about is Copilot adoption and what a pain in the neck it is, right? And oh, believe me, Copilot adoption is a huge pain in the neck. It was a pain at Microsoft, it's a pain in your companies, and it comes down to 3 reasons. First, no one really understands what scenarios are good for AI and what scenarios are not good for AI, okay? And people are trying to use AI for either every scenario or no scenario, and that's just not true. The rule of thumb I tend to use is that generative AI generates. So use it for generating things, right? So it's really good for creating new things where you need the answer to be different every time. You need the answer to be creative. So rather than just using it to retrieve information where everyone likes to use it for, use it for creating new things. Use it where non-deterministic, meaning different every time, is important, okay? So next question is, people say, we don't know if our data is ready to Copilot yet. And the key there is to not wait until you think your data is ready across your business, because that answer will be never. Instead, do it org by org. So look at the orgs that actually have their data kind of in order. That's going to be like finance and legal, and do like restricted SharePoints, right? Say only Copilot over this SharePoint right here, or don't Copilot over this SharePoint. Use Purview, use restricted SharePoint, use the tools to start your adoption, because that's the only way you're going to make progress. You're never going to be ready completely 100% to do this. The third question is, our people don't know how to use Copilot yet. And that is true, because it's a new thing. So instead of waiting for everyone to figure out how to do it, which they're going to never figure out, it's important to have champs per organization, right? And have a weekly lunch and learn and say, dear everyone in finance, we're going to all do this prompt this week into Microsoft Copilot. Let's all do it hands-on together now. That we found to be by far the most useful way to teach people to do it. So I have been following closely the Microsoft Finance team's Copilot journey, right? So first they got hands-on with Bing Chat Enterprise, then they got hands-on with Microsoft Copilot. Now they use all of them, Power Apps, Power Automate, etc. And the key was a bunch of processes they put in place. First, they announced an AI driver, like a chief AI officer of finance itself. Second, that person appointed champs for each business unit. So there's Copilot, person who does financial planning, person who does financial production, someone who does, people put together those financial reports for the board. Then they held a training for each of these per week. And again, they focused on that one prompt a week. And then from those prompts, they created a prompt library. And then they encouraged everyone in the org to create their own prompts that are really interesting. And then they do demo days once a month to the CFO. But it's this all in everyone do this activity. They didn't try to make it one person's job and everyone else doesn't do it. They didn't try to do one huge training and hope that everyone remembered, because they know that doesn't work. So that. And the advice they give us and all of you is use Microsoft Copilot, Bing Chat Enterprise, as the gateway drug for Microsoft 365 Copilot. Okay. So marketing said stop using gateway drug, so we will just call it drug. One of the things about Copilots is really going out with, the old timey rings of release style. If any of you are Windows insiders, which I know a bunch of you are, it's the same insider model. Like go out to one group of people once, let it bake, then go out to the next group of people. Do not deploy to your whole company at once because everyone will be confused. Okay. The third part is a lot of people don't understand that Copilots, the way they are out of a box, is one way to use it, but actually you should be connecting up with your third-party data sources. And all of you Power Platform people already know that. So because you already are experts in using those, how many connectors are there? Like 1,500, 1,300, some humongous number of connectors. You can now use all of those connectors in Microsoft 365 using all of those extensibility models. You can do it in Copilot Studio, Graph connectors, Teams message extensions, whatever you want to use, you can still use these to improve Microsoft 365 and get better results. So that skill you all have that you thought was random, really relevant in Copilot land. Okay, so what the heck are agents? I know I said I'm going to talk about agents. Let's talk about agents. Okay, it's a new thing, but it's also an old thing. Okay, so here's the theory. Right now, Copilot acts like it's never seen you before in its life, right? It's like has amnesia. You could try it yourself. If you go ask Bing Chat Enterprise a question, and then you come back tomorrow and ask the same question, you will get a different answer and it'll act like it's never met you before, right? So say you're responding to 50 emails, it's like 50 new things every time. It doesn't have context between the last thing you did and this thing. So instead, Copilots are going to start getting what's called an agentic treatment, okay? So the AI journey we've been on forever, it's been going on for 50-something years, right? Since 1956, we've had this concept called predictive AI, and that's the AI like Blueberry or Chihuahua, legs or hot dog or whatever it is. Then now we're in this era of generative AI that's causing this chaos, but soon we're going to be in this era of agentic AI, which is going to cause more chaos. And that's why you need to get ready soon, because before you know it, your companies are going to be asking you to build agents. So what is agents anyway? And what an agent does is rather than doing just one task at a time, it makes a plan. Okay, so an agentic workflow is you would set a goal. You would say something like, build me a website for a wine bar in Seattle, Washington. Okay, and pluck wines that are made in Washington State only. Okay, that is a goal. Okay, now Copilot is going to get to work and create a plan and break it into tasks. And then it's going to execute each task. It's going to process the results, reprioritize the task list, and do it for you. And it's going to work in a loop until it's done. Okay. I'm going to show you this demo in a second using GitHub Copilot workspaces. But how it works under the covers, I'm calling the agentification of Copilot. Okay. So the pieces of it are there's context, meaning I keep the context, like you're a wine bar Copilot. That's what you do. You help me manage my wine bar. You have memory. You learn that these are the wines we have in stock that are already on the website to help me build a new website. You are able to do planning and organizing. Extensibility, meaning you're able to connect to external data sources and pluck from this website or that website. And last, you're able to do automation, meaning you're able to do publishing or this and that with guardrails. Okay. So the good news is you already know how to do this. First is like the Assistants API that exists in the Azure catalog. So if you want to build your own, you actually can just use the Assistants API in GPT-4 and build your own. Planning is just the orchestrator that already exists in Azure AI. It's called Prompty, but there's also LangChain and a bunch of other ones. Extensibility, you know, from plugins and connectors in the Power Platform, and then automation, you know, from Power Automate. So you already know how to do all of these things. The tools already exist, but they don't exist together in a tool yet. Okay. So rather than trying to go and build an agent tomorrow, just start thinking about agenty design patterns. And there's a lot of them, right? So you and an agent can work together to solve a problem, be a thought partner. Agent can do work and think about how to make it better. Agents can call externally, agents can plan, or multiple agents can work together to solve a problem. So these are all design patterns that you're going to see over and over, and I'm going to show you 2 examples. First one, you could just do this in Microsoft Copilot or ChatGPT, by the way. So I recommend you try something like this. This is the whole prompt. Write a social media post about 5-step process to overcome imposter syndrome. Then pause. Think of 3 ways it can be improved. Be more actionable and note these. Write the next version. So you see how it does a task, pauses, reflects, refixes itself, and gives you a better answer. It will do this all at once. So try something like this. It doesn't even matter what it is. And this is going to take a few minutes to generate, but I recommend you go and try this out yourself once we finish up here. Okay, so one tool I want you all to get familiar with is the Azure AI Studio Playground or the OpenAI Playground. So that's platform.openai.com/playground, or you could do it in Azure as well. Here, I'm doing something where I'm building an assistant to help me, right? I say do the thing a lot, so I'm building a do the thing assistant. So how would this work? I would say something like, you're a helpful assistant who answers in a friendly and playful tone to help Donna. Write me a whole thing on overcoming imposter syndrome, right? And what it would do is, you can see I've uploaded a bunch of documents here. And I've uploaded my manuscripts, Do the Thing, Imposter Syndrome Banishing Spell, Model 47, my business book, and Spin Your Tell, which is my brand book. And I am now going to have this Copilot answer questions for me on behalf of my own voice, using the resources that I've uploaded. So this is my own personal, like, mini agenty thing, right? So the question I would ask is, what would Donna say to someone who wants to learn AI? And you can just do this yourself, by the way. You could do this using ChatGPT, vanilla ChatGPT, with no issues. And here, it puts it in kind of my tone, not exactly. It has some emojis, has do the thing in it, has a code snippet, has an email that you can send, etc. So this thing works with a feature called memory, and you can see it in Copilot. There's this memory feature that tracks things that you have already done. Okay. And in this memory, you can see here's all the information it's learned about me. You can clear its memory or delete each one individually, but I recommend you get hands-on with it. If you have not seen GitHub Copilot Workspace, go look it up, because it is the future of how AI tools are going to work. Okay. So here's how it works right now. I want to go to my GitHub repo and I want to create a website for my bar called Side Hustle. I am not a web dev. I'm an operating system dev. I do not make websites. So I'm going to go to GitHub Copilot Workspaces, which it is a waitlist right now. And I'm going to go to the Side Hustle repo. And in the Side Hustle repo, I'm going to say, build me a website to build, create a website for a wine bar in Seattle called Side Hustle. Create a wine list of low intervention wines from Washington State, which is where I live. And I just bought a whole bunch. So now you see Copilot doing this, okay? It's creating a plan. Look, it's writing the spec. So it says, this exists. Here's what I propose. I'm going to create an index.html. Now Copilot's doing all of this. I'm doing absolutely nothing but watching it, okay? So it's going to actually go through and make a plan. So it wrote a spec, and it's now going to generate a plan. And the best thing is, I can modify this anytime. If I didn't like the spec, if I wanted, like, a site that's green and yellow, I could specify that, but we're doing something basic for time's sake. So right now I can clear the plan, I can collapse the plan, I can regenerate the plan, I can modify the plan, I can do all sorts of things, but I'm just going to see what it gives me. Okay, so yep. And then it's going to do all this. Yep. And it's actually going to do a pull request. So we can check it in and then look at it. So I like this because it stitches together a bunch of tools. It stitches together both Visual Studio and the GitHub Copilot pull request site. So let's create a pull request. And then we're going to see it in about a second. Here you go. So it's hideous, of course, right? Because I'm not a web dev and I didn't specify Copilot to do anything special. But what I would do is specify, like, make it these colors, upload these pictures, et cetera, et cetera. So all of this was generated by GitHub Copilot without me doing anything at all. And soon you're going to see this kind of agentification across Copilots, right? And then you're going to learn about a thing called multi-agent, which is like Apple's thing. And the best way to learn about it is to get really familiar with Copilot Studio and Power Automate. Okay, so what else is top of mind? Of course, there's always going to be data hygiene and security, right? Because without that, you're not going to have any progress with Copilots. So get familiar with all of the tools you already know. You all know, get familiar with Purview, SharePoint, Restricted, all of the tools, admin tools that exist. Make sure you know them very well because you're going to need them more. One of the things that's really interesting is that you're all going to get asked to play with multiple language models at the same time. Okay, so it's not going to be that you're just going to live in GPT-4 forever. So get familiar with this concept called small language models. These are the ones that work online on devices or offline on specific devices. And these are the ones that are going to be a lot cheaper and do very specific things. A way to play with this is to look at the AI toolkit for Visual Studio Code. You can see it at aka.ms AI toolkit. Okay, more upskilling and adoption. We're keeping Copilot Learning Hub up to date. We recommend you go do a version of the site for yourself and your customers, or figure out how to explain things from here to your customers in the context of their business. You're going to see a lot more focus on AI and deepfake detector. You saw Meta just announce one yesterday. This is going to keep happening because we have to be able to say when something is not real. And this just happened where we're not going to believe anything unless we see it real life, right? So this finance guy paid out $25 million with a fake deepfake CFO, and it just happened. So the fifth thing that's going to happen, and I actually think this is beautiful, is that the value and price of personal brands, human reputation, and human-to-human interaction is going to go up. Because there's this guy who married a hologram in Japan who can't talk to her anymore because he didn't pay his bill. There's this person who has an AI therapist who told him extremely wrong things, and all of the AI girlfriends turns out to be privacy nightmares. So I highly recommend you don't marry a hologram, get an AI therapist, or get an AI girlfriend. You can, but I recommend you don't. So I like that human-to-human will become a thing, but get ready that soon there's going to be deepfake avatars in meetings, and all of this human created, curated, delivered information is going to become a luxury item. So all of you who like human stuff face to face, congratulations, you're going to be in the business for a long, long, long time. So because it's me, there's of course homework. Ready? Just know that all of you are going to be AI operators, validators, or both. Okay, you already are. The fact that you're doing this work in the Power Platform means you're already taken steps 1 through 5 of getting into the AI verse. So I really recommend that you spend some time figuring out a killer prompt, okay, or scenario for your favorite Copilot. That can be the Power Apps one, Power Automate, Microsoft Copilot, Azure Copilot. I do not care. Figure out your favorite Copilot. Figure out a great prompt or scenario and show everyone, okay? If you share it on social, tag me at Dona Sarkar. And if you want to, come on Copilot Learning Hub Live and be on air with me. I've been recruiting people from LinkedIn to come and record sessions with me and show off their killer scenario or killer prompt. And you can find out all of these episodes on learn.microsoft.com/Copilot. So that is what I have for you. And I hope that you all understand that you are not just working on the technology that you see in front of you today. This is just 101 level, and all of you are going to have long, fruitful, beautiful careers as long as you keep doing things like this and investing in yourself. Thank you so much and have a wonderful event.
Thank you, Donna. On behalf of everyone, I want to extend our deepest gratitude for your inspiring and impactful keynote today. and your dedication to pushing the boundaries of technology and your commitment to making an AI useful for business around the world resonate deeply with all of us. And your words have not only energized our audience and also provided more valuable insights that we will carry throughout our day. And once again, thank you, Dona, for kicking off the Power Platform Classmates 2024 event with such energy and vision. We look forward to the rest of the event and continue to learning from your incredible experience and insights. Let's give a big round of applause to Dona Sarkar. Thank you once again.